do it.
Salutations, suckers. Welcome to another week of the Commish Dish. I am Double R Squeeze. I'm here with the Breeze, and we are preluding week 13 this week. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope that your plates are full of food and your TVs are full of football, and we're going to try to squeeze this into 40 minutes today. So bear with us, and we're going to get down to it.
3 games tomorrow. Lots of Thanksgiving food, spending time with friends and family. It's a wonderful time. Let's get to it.
All right. So let's go ahead and recap week 12 real fast. We'll start with my matchup. 114 to 117, respectable scores. We were pretty much neck and neck throughout the week. Ricky Pearsall had a chance to win it for me. All he needed was about 6 points, and he only got me 2.8. And, I fall to Dean in a crucial win, but I'm still kicking and try again next week.
Yeah, you basically said it. I thought that Ricky Pearsall being his second week back would have more of an impact and get you the win on Monday night, but just didn't come through for you. And Dean had just enough points on the board to get the job done and put him in a better spot to make the playoffs.
Next matchup, we had you beating Tidal Wave 98 to 84. I called this one correct too. I said that you would edge him out. Very low scoring matchup. So, but a win is a win, doesn't matter. Especially with Lamar Jackson only getting you 7 points. But I think the big key to this win was the big George Pickens 29 pointer, puts you over the top.
It's hard to believe that Jacoby Brissett has been more productive here recently than Lamar Jackson for me, but whatever it takes to get the job done. I have not been scoring the most points here recently. Been fortunate to face some lower scoring teams. Caught tidal wave in his bye week, and yeah, got to 7-5. Put myself in a good spot going forward. But I do need to start scoring some more points. I think my running back spot is starting to take a little bit better shape. And then tidal wave. I mean, he's going to be fine. He just had a rough week being on all his good players on bye, so he'll bounce back and get right going forward.
Next matchup, we had Merch Luck beating Pigskin Princess 105 to 98. Another somewhat low scoring week. We both picked Alyssa to beat Merch Luck, but Merch Luck proved us wrong. And you would think he would lose with his quarterback getting him only 7 points and him getting a goose egg from Jamo, but a 21 point from James Cook, a 25 point from Hunter Henry. It was just enough to kind of overcome a couple of the faults left by Alyssa, which was another goose egg from Jordan Addison. So
The goose egg from Jordan Addison, JJ McCarthy continues to fail his wide receivers and that Vikings offense, and then also Kyron Williams in a game where they outscore Tampa Bay 34-7, and Kyron Williams gets her 5.8. You would think you'd have more in that kind of game for the Rams, but just didn't happen. And Alyssa continues to have a team that is hard to figure out. Goes from scoring, high point the week before and then down to 98 this past week. So just no consistency there on her end. But yeah, it's two teams here that are sitting at 500, sitting at 6-6, and it's a big cluster in the middle of the league, trying to reach the playoffs and get in those top 8 spots as we wind down the season. And these are two of those teams that are in that mix.
next matchup, we had Money Muscle rolling to 10-2 over Lathan. And we saw this was writing on the wall. Money Muscle put up over 130 points, and Lathan failed to reach 90. So not much to say about this matchup from my end, but I will say that Cam Ward is starting to look a little bit better. So maybe that's a little bit of um, a plus for Lathan's future.
It's a plus for Lathan's future, and it's a plus for any team that has some of the Titans skill players, wide receivers, tight ends, and just players in general. Because Cam Ward has been coming alive and been producing in that Titans offense, so that's a good for the future there and the outlook of any Titans skill players. Money Muscle just continues to to do his thing, sitting at 10-2, best record in the league, and trying to lock up. I don't know if he has the division locked up yet. Let's see. He does not. Jay Louis is right on his heels at 9-3, but Tatanka continues to roll and has his. I'm sure its playoff spot is clinched. That's got to be clinched now. He's just trying to lock up the division and get that number one overall seed.
Next matchup, we had Sly Dog coming out of nowhere to take down Scat Pack 128 to 117. Kind of like mine and Dean's matchup, pretty respectable scores. Just one team has to win. And, Sly had some pieces that had some consistent 20 pointers. Caleb Williams, 22, Derrick Henry, 23, Michael Wilson, 22, Emmanuel Wilson, 27. And so he was able to piece together a few, productive pieces to even overtake 25 from AJ Brown and 30 from Wandale on the other side. So, and Josh Allen failing to do much of anything really helped as well.
Yeah, Josh Allen's poor game against that really good Texans defense on Thursday night last week was a killer for Scat Pack, and also having Justin Herbert on bye. So not having his two quarterbacks produce like they possibly could. And then Shy Dog was the beneficiary of some injury luck. Emmanuel Wilson steps in for Josh Jacobs and puts up 27. And then Michael Wilson, Jacoby Brissett to Michael Wilson has been pretty deadly here while Marvin Harrison Jr. has been out. So Sly Dog got some good production there and was able to edge out the Scat Pack.
Next matchup, we had C Mike falling to Louis in a heartbreaker 108 to 112, losing by 4 points. Both sides had some scores, had some people go off, do a little bit of heavy lifting, everything else. But kind of like my matchup where we all thought that Ricky Pearsall might in the second week come back, it was once again Jawan Jennings getting 15 points. So I'm sure Mike felt pretty good about Jawan not getting to that mark to put him to give him the loss, but that is how the cookie crumbled. So
Jay Louis did just enough to get to 9-3. And as I mentioned, he's not right on the heels of Money Muscle for the division lead. Mike continues to, you know, not have bad weeks, but just can't quite get the win. And does he have the worst record in the league? Who has the worst record? He does, correct?
yeah, that's him.
So he's looking at, possibly with 2 weeks to go, possibly getting that number one overall pick heading into the rookie draft. We'll see if he does indeed get that first overall pick. And then, yeah, Jay Louis, he's at 9-3, but the Baker Mayfield injury scares me for his future weeks. I think he does have enough to overcome it and still be, competitive. But after Baker Mayfield, he has Kirk Cousins and Geno Smith as his two quarterbacks, and that's just not very, promising in my opinion to pair along with his good skill players. So we'll see how long Baker is out, if he can get back, for the fantasy playoffs and produce for Jay Louis, because Jay Louis' team is really good, but those other two quarterbacks just are scary.
And then the last matchup we had Mason versus talk about a win and a close one, 128 to 134. Pretty sure we labeled this as the matchup of the week because both teams were 5-6, and both teams looked to be pretty even, and we were having difficulty figuring it out. But this is exactly where a player like Jahmyr Gibbs comes in handy. Just when you can get one player to put up, three players worth of points, comes in real handy for these kind of weeks of which you need a difference maker. So
And Ashton Genty came alive as well, 25 points. The duel on Monday night. Well, I guess it was actually three players on Monday night that were playing in this matchup. Mason had Brock Purdy and CMC. CMC produced. Brock Purdy did not with his three interceptions. And in a night where Bryce Young struggled on Monday night, if Brock Purdy had put up the numbers that you're accustomed to him putting up, he probably leads Mason to a win, but just could not quite, you know, get the ball rolling on Monday night, and so Gregory pulls away with a 134 to 128 win and puts him in a better spot to reach the playoffs. It's been quite the turnaround for Greg because he looked dead in the water in about week, I don't know, week four, somewhere in there. It looked pretty rough, and now all of a sudden he's putting up some big time points and has a chance.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for week 12. Let's go ahead and take a glance at what happened on the waiver wire, which was not a whole lot. There was just one player picked up, and it was a quarterback. So Teddy Bridgewater was picked up by Jake. And we've said this time or time again, if there's going to be a starting quarterback, probably needs to be rostered, even if it's just to play defense or, you never know, but you might as well roster it. So I am kind of surprised that he's the only one that put a claim in on him. But, this late in the year, people forget or people have their team set and they don't feel like dropping anybody. So I get it. But so yeah, not a whole lot of action. Just picked up the one available quarterback on the week. That was it.
Yeah, it's not a bad pickup. I don't see him really doing much in the few weeks or a couple. I don't even know how long Baker's going to be out. Week two, three, whatever it may be. I don't see Teddy Bridgewater really doing much. You would think he'd be able to with the skill players there in Tampa Bay, but he looked pretty awful when he came in on that was Sunday night, I guess. And seeing as how Jake Tidal Wave has Drake May and Bo Nix, I don't think Teddy Bridgewater will be starting over either of those two. So it's just more of an insurance policy, I would say. But I almost feel like, yeah, somebody else could have put in a bid and got Teddy Bridgewater and maybe got more use out of him than Jake. But I feel like Teddy Bridgewater, whatever it may be, he does have to be rostered. So not a bad pickup there, especially for, $0. Jake probably has no dollars left. He does not have any money left. So he had to bid zero. But yeah,
No
not a bad pickup.
monies. All right, cool. Well, we had no fan mail, so empty mailboxes this week, so we can move past that, I guess. Um, well, I don't know. Should we just go ahead and hop into week 13 and rattle off some predictions?
I think that's a good idea. What did
All
we come
right,
up with last week? We were both 4-3 on the predictions.
four and
So you
three,
sit at you sit at
40.
48-37,
Yes,
and I sit at 45 and 40. You got a 3 game lead still.
I'll take it. Well, seeing as I'm pretty good at predicting these weeks, the last 2 weeks I bet against myself, and I did get those right with coming up with two losses. And that is why this week, in a must win, I am just going to bet on myself to pull out the win strictly because I need to. We've done it once, done it twice, but this week I really need this win versus Merch. Um, I've got the Indy stack of Daniel Jones and Michael Pittman. They've go up against that Houston defense this week, and that is just downright disgusting. I don't want to see it, but if they can somehow manage to do something against that Houston defense, then I've got a pretty good shot. But that'll be where the week is made is in that matchup. Um, and he's got some pretty tough matchups in his running back room. James Cook versus that Pittsburgh defense, Tony Pollard versus Jacksonville, both good run defenses. Uh, Tyler Warren faces Houston, so I can only hope that those targets go to Michael Pittman. And then yeah, and just kind of hope that everybody else is just a little bit more, subdued and I just catch them on an off week. So
It's a tough matchup to predict because a couple of y'all's guys have, like you're talking about, have bad matchups, but there are a couple that have some good matchups as well. You had HN against that Saints defense helps you, I would say. Jalen Hurts in Chicago or versus Chicago. And then he's got those two Chargers receivers against Vegas and Jamar Chase tomorrow night against Baltimore when Joe Burrow is coming back. It's a very, very tough matchup to predict. I'm gonna give a slight edge to Merch. I think tomorrow you don't have anybody playing tomorrow, and he has Jordan Love Jamar
Jamo
Chase,
and Jamo.
and JMO. And JMO dudded last week. He scored a whopping 0. And that just makes me believe that tomorrow he might bounce back with a big time game. And I have a feeling after tomorrow you might be in a pretty big hole to climb out of after Jordan Love, JMO, and Jamar Chase play. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a really tight matchup, and I think it could go either way. I think a decent amount of points will be put up on both sides as well. But I just got to give a slight edge to Merch.
Well, I'll be watching that noon game tomorrow. Two of his guys play there, and we'll just hope that I'm just gonna hope they don't shoot for the moon. Let's go ahead and move on to
By the
your
way,
matchup.
the Thanksgiving morning game used to start at 11 a.m. and now it starts at noon, and it's just throwing me all off because it should start at 11. Like it should
11.
be starting in the morning. It
Yeah.
should start at 11 and it starts at noon tomorrow.
I thought something was off, but I couldn't figure out why. And that's exactly what it was. I was like, this is weird. What's wrong with this picture? That's why. That's
Yeah,
weird. I wonder why they did that.
yeah. I don't know, but it's stupid. I need my morning kickoff tomorrow, and it's just not happening.
The old morning kickoff. All right, let's go to your
Also,
matchup versus
you let me down last week when I picked you against Dino, so I got to pick against you this week.
no. I like I said, I can only hope and pray at this point in the season. That's all I can do. Um,
Yeah,
let's go with your matchup versus Dino, the same Dino that knocked me off last week. Um, whenever you stop being stupid and replace your tight end, I'll have a better idea. Uh, but until until then, I am still gonna go ahead
I
and give
got
you
I
the
can't
edge.
I can't decide who I want to drop. I got to bring Marvin Harrison Jr. off of IR to be able to make a lineup change, and I can't decide
Hmm.
if I who I want to drop. So I got to figure all that out. Who you got?
You're stupid if you don't drop Jake Tunges. Get that guy off your team.
If Kittle goes out again, Tungus is very startable. Don't give me that. Did you
Anyways,
pick me?
I'm gonna go with you. Jacoby Brissett will once again throw for like 350 yards against that Tampa Bay secondary. Uh, your running back room, while they're still number two on their teams, there's room to run against those defenses. If Joe Burrow can do anything, Lamar Jackson can only bounce back. Lamar Jackson has looked not so great. And so I do have you to beat Dean, who's old man Stack, and Stafford and Devontae Adams go up against a pretty good Carolina defense. Alec Pierce goes up against Houston. And I know we've said that Houston matchup 100 times, but Alec Pierce is kind of more of a deep ball threat. And there's just not going to be that much time for Daniel Jones to wait for him to finish his route. So, and then Minnesota's pass defense is pretty dang good too. So Sam Darnold's going to have an issue there. So, other than Saquon Barkley, he just really just doesn't have much, positivity in terms of matchup wise. So I'm going to give you the edge.
His matchups are extremely tough. They are extremely tough. Lamar has a bounce back week. He has a bounce back game tomorrow night against Cincinnati. I've got to decide if I'm going to play Keaton Mitchell over Pacheco or not. I feel like Keaton Mitchell could be highly productive tomorrow. Justice Hill is out, and Keaton Mitchell's been getting a lot more touches. Pacheco, I just can't trust that guy yet, I don't think. I like all my receivers. I love all my receivers here recently, and I'll throw Evan Ingram back in for Brock Wright. Jacoby Brissett continues to produce. I think I win. I think I'm going to wrap up a playoff spot this week. I've been winning without scoring a lot of points. I think tomorrow starts me with a big week of scoring. And I think I get the dub in order to wrap up a playoff berth. I hope winning this week should wrap up a playoff berth for me. So I got me over Dino.
Sweet. All right. We've got the battle of the husband and wife in our next matchup, Pigskin Princess versus C Mike. I've got the Pigskin Princess. I've said this about her team before. How her two running backs go is usually how her week goes, and Kyron Williams and ETN both have pretty good matchups. Kyron Williams had a bad game last week. I can only think that he bounces back. Uh, then you have a 3:30 game tomorrow between the Chiefs and the Cowboys. She's got some players from there that should be trading some points back and forth. And then she gets Jackson Dart back. At least she should. And then on the other side, it's just, uh, Mike is already counting on Bucky Irving, which I just don't know if he really comes back and plays 100% of this, of his usual role. You know, uh, Say Flowers is always iffy. Troy Franklin is always, iffy. Uh, and he's playing without his second quarterback, which is what it is. But yeah, so Pigskin Princess for me.
Yeah, I'll take the Princess as well. She had a lower scoring week this past week, so I think she bounces back. She kind of alternates big week or a high scoring week and then a low scoring week. So I think she bounces back this week with a high scoring week, and I think you pretty much hit on everything else with the with Jackson Dart returning, and then on Mike's side, yeah, Bucky Irving. You just don't know how many touches he's going to get in it if he does play. How many touches he's going to get in his first game back. And I just don't trust some of the other guys that Mike has towards the bottom of his lineup that you already listed. Aaron Jones against the Seattle defense. Yeah, well, she has Jordan Addison against the Seattle defense, so that didn't give me much confidence either. But I still got the Princess, and I think that pushes Mike towards the first overall pick, and that pushes the Princess towards the playoff spot.
Next matchup, I am not going to take more than 10 seconds on. It is Tidal Wave with the win. Um, Stahl is playing Jaleel McLaughlin and Caleb Johnson. Enough said.
Tidal wave.
All right, next matchup, Money Muscle versus Sly Dog. Uh, I don't know if I even looked at this matchup earlier, but Sly already has Omarion Hampton plugged in. I think he is going to play this week. Uh, Mahomes
But that's kind
against
of a Bucky
Dallas.
Irving situation, right? You don't know what you're going to get in the first week
Yeah,
back.
but I'm more confident that he comes back, and I don't know why, but I just, mm,
You know what's troublesome for me on Money Muscle side is DeAndre Swift is it's Monangai taking over there slowly but surely. Monangai is taking over, and DeAndre Swift had a really bad week, and now he faces Philadelphia.
yeah, I don't know.
JSN against the Minnesota defense.
I kind of want to go Sly Dog on this one. I kind of want to
I,
go.
I, I'm leaning Slide Dog too almost.
I
Uh,
think I think I am. I'm gonna lean Sly Dog, and like you said, JSN goes up against that really good Minnesota secondary, and I just think he's gonna, Tajay Spears against that Jacksonville defensive front. That's gonna be less than 3 points. Um, I don't know. I think just matchup wise, I think Caleb Williams has a good game. Derrick Henry's going to run all over Cincinnati. Yeah, we're going to go Sly Dog in a close one here.
I guess Marvin Harrison Jr. did practice today, limited, I think. So if he comes back, Torch is going to be irrelevant, you would think. Michael Wilson still could be relevant, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Although Dortch, I mean, he has had 2 good weeks in a row, but there's some tough matchups on Money Muscle side. Teteroa and McMillan versus the Rams. He, yeah, man, it's hard for me to pick Sly Dog over Money Muscle, but I'm leaning that way. Derrick Henry could roll over that Cincinnati defense. I mean, I think everybody's going to score a lot tomorrow in that matchup on both sides. You would.
Sweet. Uh, Next matchup we have Mason versus Louis.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
gonna, huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I guess my internet cut out for a second. I got I got Sly Dog. It was hard for me to pick him, but I'm gonna pick him this week over Money Muscle. I don't know.
Okay.
Go ahead, move on to the next
No,
matchup
you're
already.
good. You're good. I was just saying the next matchup is Mason versus Team Louis. Uh, I'm gonna go with Team Louis. He's on a roll. His team's always scoring hot. He'll move to 10-3. And the big piece of that is what's happening on Mason's top of his roster with both his quarterback and CMC going up against that stupid good Cleveland defense. That's probably going to be a pretty low scoring game. It's probably going to be one of those ends like 13-10 or something. And so when you have that and you have, Bijan Robinson going up against the Jets defense, Rashi Rice going up against Dallas, going to go ahead and give the win to Louis here.
I hadn't really studied this one much. So you got Jay Louis. The two quarterbacks on his side scare me, like I talked about earlier. Kirk Cousins. So he's got Kirk Cousins and Bijan going same team. The quarterback running back stack against the Jets,
Just like Mason does.
just like Mason does. You're right. But his is going against that Cleveland defense. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And then Justin Jefferson has been not good. He goes up against Seattle, Shakir against Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm gonna take. I wanted to pick Mason at first, but I'm gonna go with even with the two quarterbacks that scare me. I think the skill players on Jay Louis, Bijan, Puka, Rasheed Rice. It's just too much. I got Jay Louis.
Easy. All right, final matchup. We have Scat Pack versus Talk About a Win. Both teams are 6-6. Both teams are, that game out of last place for last playoff spot. So should be a pretty good one. I am going to go with Scat Pack. Josh Allen is for sure going to have a bounce back performance. Chase Brown, if Joe Burrow plays or even without, he's been playing pretty good. Brees Hall against that Atlanta defense has they haven't really done much against anything. AJ Brown is rolling. Wandale Robinson is rolling. It's just like all the momentum is on his team. And that's even with talk about a win, getting 55 from Gibbs last week. But like I said, it took 55 for him to barely get the 4-point win over Alyssa. So I don't see that happening again. So I think Scat Pack just has a little bit more firepower this week.
I agree. It's probably going to be pretty close matchup here, just across the board. It's fairly even, I would say. I don't like the two tight ends that Scat Pack is starting. I guess he has to do that. I hadn't looked at his bench that much. I'm not a big fan of that, but I think he does squeak out a win. Scat Pack squeaks out a win over Gregory this week in a pretty close matchup. I just don't like. I'm still in a super flex. I'll take Josh Allen and Justin Herbert over Bryce Young and Tyler Shuck. That
Fair enough.
that's
That usually seals it.
yeah, that's pretty favorable.
Yeah,
Is
so
that
that
all
does
of
it
them?
for all the matchups for this week. It's crucial time. So good luck, everybody. It should be fun. This is, we're gonna see some people eliminated this week and some people locking in their spots, and then there'll still be probably two, three, four teams still without a designation going into the final week of the season. So it should be fun. But yeah. Other predictions we had from last week, we both missed on the first touchdown of the game because we both picked Bills players, which that was absolutely not the case. Um, what did you have? You had both Seahawks running backs to
Well,
get a touchdown.
yeah, and Charbonnet scored. Kenneth Walker didn't quite score, so I guess I was kind of close there. But I had T Higgins going way off, and he did not. He went out with a concussion, but he wasn't even close to anything that I thought he would be. And then you had a pretty good prediction. I'll let you take it over.
I told all of you out there to pick up David Sills the fifth from Atlanta because he was gonna have 3 for 36 and a touchdown. And he got 2 for 16 and a touchdown. You guys could have had you 10 points on the board and you didn't listen. It's just, one day y'all will listen to me. So, but
That would have
that's all
made the
right.
difference for some of you. That would have made the
Yeah,
difference for some of you in your close
me,
matchups.
including me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and make some predictions for this week?
yeah. I hadn't really thought too much. I guess should we do a first touchdown?
Yeah,
I
I
guess
guess
do
we'll
a
go
first
ahead.
touchdown, and we got to go with the first game tomorrow. So Lions
Lions and
and
Packers.
Packers.
Uh, well, I think that it'll be the Packers. There will be a PI in the end zone from Christian Watson, setting him up for a first and goal. And I really don't need Josh Jacobs to do well this week. It probably will be him, but I'm going to go ahead and say that it's Emmanuel Wilson that gets the 1 yard plunge.
I'll double down on what I said earlier about JMO bouncing back with a big week, and I think he could catch the first one tomorrow, which would be a not very good start for you in the morning.
Mm-mm.
I don't think it's extremely long touchdown, but I think maybe about a it could be about a 30 yarder. Could be about a 30 yarder to start off the day. And yeah, I'll go with JMO. I'll go with JMO. That could be a big start to his day in a week where he bounces back. So I got JMO and you got Emmanuel Wilson.
That's it.
I think you could be right about the Emmanuel Wilson thing, though. Maybe not the first touchdown, but I think he could have a week in a game where they just don't give Josh Jacobs his full workload,
Can only hope. Can only hope. What else you got? You got anything
which would also
else?
help me. Well, I think I don't know. You got anything else?
I'm gonna go with from a banged up Alvin Kamara, Devin Neal gets him 2 touchdowns this weekend
That's not a bad pick.
against that Miami
Not a bad
defense.
pick.
So
Yeah, that's pretty solid, actually. Pretty solid pick. I'm thinking here. That's all you're going with?
that's all I have right now.
Yeah. You know, I don't really know what else to pick. I'm just gonna say that I think that Bengals and Ravens game tomorrow night. I hope Joe Burrow plays. I don't know what the latest update is, but I hope Joe Burrow plays. And I think there could be. I don't really know if this is bold. This isn't bold because you would. I mean, it's probably pretty obvious that there's going to be some points put up in that game. But I think if you got some players in that one, you're gonna be very fortunate tomorrow night. Whether it's Joe Burrow, I know T Higgins is out, but Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, and Jamar Chase on the Bengals side, and then on the Ravens side, I just it's a mix of all players, but I'm just excited that Lamar Jackson gets to face the Bengals defense because I think he's going to have a big bounce back game. So I don't really know if that's bold. That's not really bold, but I think you're going to be very happy if you have some players in that game tomorrow night.
Got one more for a segment I just came up with. It's gonna be my scrub of the week, following up the David Sills the fifth, and this will be Xavier Restrepo from the Titans going 4 for 42 and a touchdown against the Jaguars this week. Cam Ward is playing a little bit better. Jaguars a little soft in the secondary. We might find it might be kind of one of those surprisingly fun games with some points scored. So Restrepo. I'm telling y'all now, pick him up, put him in.
Somebody might need to take that advice. I hope they listen early tomorrow morning. Well, I
Early.
guess they don't have to listen early tomorrow morning as long as they listen before Sunday, huh? Because they play on Sunday.
That's true. I
So
guess
why?
that's pretty
So
much.
uh, I guess I'll throw another one out there. I'll throw another one out there. Xavier Worthy had a good start to the year. I picked the Princess over C Mike, the wife over the husband. I think tomorrow Xavier Worthy. He's Patrick Mahomes has overthrown him on a couple long touchdowns here recently. I think they finally connect tomorrow against that Cowboys secondary. And I think Xavier Worthy, I don't know if I want to say he outscores Rashee Rice because that's a hard thing to do. But I think he produces. I think him and Rashee Rice score about the same. I think they both put up quite a few amount of points tomorrow against the Cowboys secondary. And I think Xavier Worthy, after a few down weeks here recently, because he hasn't been producing that much in the past, however many weeks it's been. But I think Xavier Worthy connects on a long touchdown from Patrick Mahomes tomorrow afternoon, and he has a really good week, very similar to a Rashee Rice kind of week. I think that'll
Enough.
be my other one.
All right, we got 3 minutes. You want to do a little discussion about what's transpiring on Friday?
Yeah. You want to say anything?
I think it's going to be the same thing as we said about the UT versus who they was it Arkansas? No, no, Georgia, where we said it
Georgia.
was going to be a very competitive game. Georgia would end up pulling away. It will be a competitive game at least through the first half entirely. And I would even say that Texas would be up in the first half and we would come back. But I do think that if we are down at their place, there's no coming back from that. So I think what happens is we get a touchdown to put us up by like three at the end of the first half to give us some momentum. And I think we just kind of build on that. And we are, I don't know, I think our defense is going to have a little bit more to say than our offense will this go around. I think our defense is going to come fired up and they're going to make some plays.
Yeah, I kind of agree with all that. Arch Manning has been playing better here recently, but I think our defense is going to play really well. I think Texas' defense is also really good, and they could shut down the A&M offense some. You know, I think A&M wins. I think it's close. I don't know what the final is. I'm not even going to say final. I think it's close. I think A&M does end up winning. Wouldn't surprise me if Texas wins. Just in a rivalry, you never know what happens, especially being in Austin. A&M will be in the college football playoff regardless of the result, but it would suck to lose to Texas, and then that'd be your only loss, regardless of if you're heading to the college football playoff or not. And if A&M loses, I don't think the tiebreakers work in their favor to get to the SEC championship game either. So it's kind of be a double blow there, and you know, kind of be a bad ending to the regular season, even though you would be going to the playoff. But I don't think I just don't. I think A&M's the better team, and I think they squeak out a win. I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be an entertaining game. Not as high. I think it's going to be fairly just not low scoring, but just right
I,
in the
I
middle. I
think
don't think it's going to be high
it'll
scoring at
be
all.
it'll be your typical like 24-17, something like
Yeah,
very in the maybe a little bit
24-20.
more, but something like
Yeah,
that, right around the 20-point mark for both teams.
I
So,
agree.
but yeah, should be fun. But anyways, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Thanks for letting us cram this into 40 minutes tonight. There may or may not be a surprise coming to you on Friday. We'll see if we're feeling up to it, but eat lots of food, have some beers, be merry, be thankful, and I'm thankful to have you guys.
Adios.